Hi, welcome to this video about lead magnets. Now, most of the clients I work with are in service-based businesses, so their websites aren't designed to sell products. They're there to generate leads, usually in the form of an inbound phone call or an inquiry form being submitted. Now, you'd think it would be pretty easy to get someone who's visited your website to fill in an inquiry form. After all, it doesn't cost anything, and it often involves nothing more than typing in your name, your email address, and your phone number. There's hardly a lot of effort needed to do that. And yet, when I start working with a new client and carry out an audit of their digital marketing, they're usually surprised to find that only a very small percentage of the people who visit their website actually go on to submit an inquiry. To use the technical term, their website's got a low conversion rate, even though they're not asking their visitors to do anything complicated or trying to get them to part with any money. So the question is, why aren't your visitors to your website getting in touch with you? Well, there can be several reasons, but they all tend to fall under one of the following four headings. Now, the first is lack of trust or lack of rapport. Now, to illustrate this, ask yourself this: how often do you meet a stranger on a train or in a coffee shop and just randomly start chatting to them? Probably not that often. And if you do find yourself striking up a conversation with a stranger, do you start by giving them your name? Of course not. Especially not if you're British. It's likely that you'll have a 10-minute conversation and then right at the end say something like, well, it was nice chatting to you. Oh, my name's David, by the way. Now, this is because most of us guard our personal information quite carefully, and we need to get to build up a bit of rapport with someone and start to trust them before we reveal too much about ourselves. So if this means we're reluctant to reveal our name to a stranger who we've met face to face, is it any wonder that we're not keen to part with our name and contact details when we're confronted with an online form on a website? The second reason people might not be contacting you is the fear of being sold to. Now, rightly or wrongly, a lot of us fear that if we fill in a form on a website, we've taken the first step towards engaging with a salesman who's going to try to sell us something we don't want. Our fear of losing control of the situation and being tricked by a clever salesman stops us wanting to take action, even though we probably do need or want what's being sold. Otherwise, we wouldn't have visited that website in the first place. It's the same defense mechanism that humans have been using in shops since long before the internet came along. You know the thing when someone comes up to you and says, "Can I help you?" and you say, "No, I'm just looking." And yet 5 minutes later, you might approach that same sales assistant and ask them for their help. But now you're in control, so you feel more comfortable engaging with them. The third reason is people might not be ready to buy. Sometimes people visit a website and they're just not at the right stage of the customer buying journey and they're not ready to engage with you yet. They may genuinely be just looking, thanks, and wanting to weigh up the options. Now, that's not to say they won't come back and make an inquiry with you or buy something from you at a later date. It's just that now isn't the right time. So what you need to do is to make sure that once it is the right time, you're still at the front of your customer's mind or your potential customer's mind. And don't worry, I'll explain shortly how you can do that. And the fourth reason why people might not be inquiring is lack of time. Now, okay, you might be thinking, how busy does someone have to be that they don't have time to fill in a form with their name and contact details? Well, think about it. If yours is one of 5 or 6 websites that they're visiting at that moment in time and they were to fill in a form on every one, the time involved actually starts to add up. And this is one of the reasons why comparison sites have become so popular, for things like mortgages, insurance, etc., because people can use one form to make contact with a multitude of potential suppliers. But even if you have a nice short form, and even if yours is the only site that person's visiting, they might still have the perception that filling in an inquiry form or giving you a call is going to take too much time. And because time is the one thing we can never get back, people often become very protective of it. For example, I've recently worked with a client who runs a training company where they offer a free 1-hour taster session of their courses to potential students. Now, you'd think it'd be quite easy to get people to come along to a free taster session, learn something for nothing, but it's not. And that's because the majority of people will want to get to know and like and trust a company before they're willing to give up an hour of their time to them, an hour that they'll never get back. So this is where we come onto a thing called a lead magnet, which can address all these problems. A lead magnet coupled with a series of follow-up emails is a great way to build trust and rapport with your website visitors whilst letting them keep control of the process and making sure that they remember you once they're ready to buy. So if you're not familiar with the term lead magnet, it's basically something that you can give away to your website visitors for free in return for them providing you with their name and email address. people are much more likely to share their contact info with you if you make it worth their while. Now, once you've got someone's name and email address in this way, you can add them to a mailing list and you can send them regular non-sales emails to help build a relationship with them and to make sure that they don't forget about you between now and that time, a week, a month, whenever down the line, when they're going to be ready to buy from you. The lead magnet itself can take various forms. It could be a downloadable PDF or access to a free course or maybe a recording of a webinar. The format of the lead magnet actually isn't too important. What matters is to make sure it offers something that's really of value to your visitors. It absolutely should not be a sales brochure and should not be a company newsletter. And I really want to stress that newsletter point, because one thing that really drives me mad is when I'm auditing someone's website and I see a box that says sign up for our newsletter. Now, if someone does sign up for that newsletter, they're typically going to get an email once a month or once a week full of exciting stories such as company wins award you've never heard of, or we've opened a new office in Croydon, or Mr. R. Slicker wins Employee of the Month. Now, these are all great achievements, I'm sure, but no one actually cares. A newsletter is not going to work as a lead magnet. Your lead magnet needs to be something that people are genuinely pleased and excited to receive. Now, we've talked about the reasons why you need a lead magnet and explain the basics of what a lead magnet is. So then the next step is to decide what your particular lead magnet is going to be about and what sort of follow-up emails you're going to send to those people who sign up in order to receive it. And all of that I'm going to cover in my next video, which will be released in a couple of days' time. So if you want to make sure that you are among the first to know when that comes out, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you've got any comments or questions, please use the box below to drop me a line and I will definitely get back to you. Thanks for watching and see you on the next video.